It's time for Tubi Tuesday. Hello. First of all, I want to apologize for there not being a Tubi Tuesday last week. I also didn't do a retro rewind because I was focusing on finishing the ABC review series and then the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, so I just kind of omitted those from the schedule. Back this week. Do we have a good one for you today? We have The Sixth Sense, starring Bruce Willis, Haley Joel Osment, and is directed by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. Okay, story time. I first saw this movie when I was 13 years old, back when it first came out on a VHS. We were down in Missouri visiting family, and we wanted to rent some movies to watch. My mom and her cousin decided to go down to the basement and watch horror movies, and us kids would stay upstairs with my grandma on the main floor with my grandma and watch other movies. And the movie we picked to watch was The Sixth Sense. I don't know if you know this, but The Sixth Sense is kind of a horror movie. It's one of those movies that really kind of got me. It's M. Night Shyamalan's first film. It's what put him on the map, and this was big. And the twist, there's actually two twists if you really think about it. When Cole reveals what his secret is, that's the first twist, and then at the end with Bruce Willis's character, that's the second twist. And if you go in knowing a twist, I realize. So here's the thing. I first watched this back in the year 2000. It had to have been when I was 13. Right? 13, yeah. Around that. It had to be in the year 2000 at least. Either early 2000, late 99. But I don't think I've watched it since then. Like, bits and pieces, sure. But I don't think I actually sat and watched through the whole film since the year 2000, 22 years. In 22 years, I've yet to rewatch this, and I don't know why. I put this up there as one of the horror films that really got me into horror. But up there with Freddy vs. Jason and Child's Play. Up there with Freddy vs. Jason and Child's Play and Scream. This is up there too. Because it was an unexpected thing to happen, I guess. But yeah. So rewatching it now, about 22 years later, I think it still holds up. I mean, the acting performances are really, really good. Like Bruce Willis, Toni Collette, especially. But there's one complaint I always have about Toni Collette, no matter what film she's in. She always looks like she's pissed off. She's always like, she's got those eyes where she's always like, I don't know, she always looks like she's pissed off or high or something. It's like, it's really weird. But she's a great actor, and she got snubbed. She should have been at least nominated for an Oscar for Hereditary, but of course, then the Academy's give us snub horror films. They don't like horror films. Her performance in here was fantastic. She's good in here too. The story is Cole Sayer, whatever, is a kid who is having problems with school and friends and everything, and Malcolm Groh is his psychologist brought in to help him cope with these when it's found out that Cole has a secret he's been hiding this whole time. It's going to flip everything on its head. So, first of all, I didn't realize that the reveal of Cole's secret came so far into the movie. I thought it was like maybe a half hour, 45 minutes in. It's like halfway through the film that this revelation happens. And so for the first half of the film, you don't see anything. You don't see anything that happens. You just see this kid is acting weird. They call him a freak. Although, I do want to say, like, why do they call him a freak? Just because he acts weird, I guess? I don't know. Yeah. And this film actually starts out with Dr. Malcolm Crowe, played by Bruce Willis, and his wife Anna coming home from like a dinner, awards thing. I don't. He won something, I think, right? He has a plaque or something, a little thing, and they come home and they find out the place has been broken into. From the second floor, though, because the second floor window, the guy climbed up the side anyway. And it's revealed to be Donnie Wahlberg. He wants to play Bruce Willis, some new kids on the block, apparently. No, he wants to feed him some Wahlburgers. No. Donnie Wahlberg plays the character of Vincent, a former patient of his that, I guess, wasn't helped right, I guess. The thing is, so, at the time, Donnie Wahlberg was 30 years old. He looks older than he is now, and he's like 52 now. So he looks older to the makeup, whatever they did to him, he looks older than 30 there. But I guess he's not supposed to be. But also, he was one of Malcolm's patients when he was a kid. How old is Malcolm supposed to be? Because like Bruce Willis, I think, was in his 40s here, right? So are they saying that he helped him when he was in his 20s, like when he was just starting out? And yet he blames him for not working if he was just starting out. I don't know. But he has a gun, he shoots Malcolm, and shoots himself in the head. We cut to that following fall, and we meet Cole, who is having problems, and he has been taken to Malcolm. There is something here, though, that once you know the twist, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't want to reveal the twist, but I might have to. But maybe I'll talk about that when I get to the end. So, but there are some little things that just don't make any sense, really, when you really sit and think about it. But anyway, we see that Malcolm is also having problems with his wife. They're not talking. We'll find out what that means later. But, so he, talks to Cole, and eventually he's got some kind of secret. Things are happening, whatever. So there's a scene where Cole's mom is picking up the dirty laundry, put it in the basket, and she covers the dog, and oh my God, do not kill the dog. I just had the weird pit in my stomach feeling that she was gonna pile all the clothes on the dog, put them in the washing machine, and it was gonna die. No, the dog survives. The dog lives. Don't worry. It was a little dog. But I don't know. But yes, there's the scene at the birthday party. Cole and Tommy Tomasimo, that's one of the weirdest names. Tommy Tomasimo is the bully, played by Trevor Morgan, who you may know as Eric from Jurassic World 3, or he was in that Barney movie that my brother used to watch non-stop when he was little. Yeah, him. He was also, I think it was Cody in that movie, but he was also Genius. In the Disney Channel movie Genius, he was in that. Yeah, he's like the bully character here. I guess. And it's at some other kid's party. They lock him in this. What is it supposed to be? Like it's a smaller door. It's like a little pantry thing on the second floor. I don't know, but they lock him in there and he freaks out. And they do address he's got like markings on him, and like Malcolm thinks they're self-inflicted, but then when it's brought to the attention of someone else, they think it's the mother that's been abusing him. I didn't believe that for a minute. She's not like that, but like there's certain hints as to what's going on with him, like the thing with the bumblebee pin that keeps getting moved, and he won't say who moved it, but it just says that he didn't move it. So yeah. So first twist revealed. All right, it's revealed at the almost 1 hour mark. He reveals to Malcolm that he can see dead people. all the time. I do like, though, that Shyamalan, he doesn't just show us everything in the first half of this film. We're left to guess what is going on with this kid. How does he know so much about stuff that he couldn't possibly know? Like he knows that the school they in, it was built on a courthouse where they used to do hangings. And I will say the one scene I didn't like was the Stuttering Stanley thing, where he just starts yelling, "Stuttering Stanley, Stuttering Stanley." I'm just like, okay, no, that's a little too far. I don't understand why he's yelling that at the kid, or at the teacher. It doesn't make any sense, but, you know. So yeah, I see dead people all the time. They don't know they're dead. They see things differently. They don't see things the way they are, whatever. Yeah, so basically they help each other. Malcolm tells him, maybe you should talk with the people and talk with the dead people, and maybe he doesn't believe him at first, but then when he listens back to, because apparently Cole reminds him of Vincent, so he listens back to one of Vincent's on a whim, listens back to one of his sessions, and he hears someone talking in Spanish in the background of one of the times that he left him alone, I guess. So yeah, he tells him, talk to them, and he then meets a girl played by Misha Barton, a girl ghost that I'm like, is that Misha Barton? That's puking up stuff. He's like, I feel better now. And then he goes to her funeral and is given a box by her ghost. In there is a VHS tape which reveals that the stepmother or the mother was poisoning her. I don't know. I don't know how Shyamalan thinks poison works, but doesn't poison kill instantly? This woman is pouring stuff in the soup and making her sick. I thought that when you poison someone, they instantly die. At least that's how it's been portrayed before. But apparently it's happening to the younger girl too. And found out, they don't ask how he found the box or how he knew, but and then he's in a play and everyone seems to like him better. They do show that Tommy Tomasimo was like a kid actor or something, acting in a cough syrup commercial, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, and so they have one final talk, right? Where he tells Malcolm, you should try talking to your wife. We are shown throughout the film that it looks like they're having marital problems, and that she's might be cheating on him with some other dude, right? But so he tells Malcolm to talk to her while she's sleeping. So we get two very good scenes that made me cry at both of them. The first scene is Cole and his mom are stopped at a traffic stop because there was an accident. So they're sitting there in the car waiting, and he decides to tell her the truth about how you can see dead people. She doesn't believe him at first until she starts talking about a dance recital that happened before he was even born. And he said about the grandmother, and the grandmother said that you used to ask a question. You asked a question when came to her grave. She says the answer is every day. And he's like, what was the question you asked? She goes, do I make you proud? Every day. And then they embrace and hug each other, and I cry. And then we have the twist of all twists. Malcolm goes home, and he talks to his wife, and she says, I miss you. He says, I miss you too, even though he doesn't understand it yet. She's like, why did you leave me? I didn't leave you. And then you hear a cling, and his wedding ring rolls underneath the chair, like she dropped it. And he realizes he's not wearing it anymore. And then he starts to think back about what Cole said about how he sees dead people every day. They don't know they're dead. And they see things differently than most people. He starts to see things the way they're supposed to. He notices that his office, which he's tried to get in the entire movie, has a table in front of it with books on it, stopping it from opening. Although we've seen him in his office, so I'm assuming he, then he remembers what happened. He died when Vincent shot him. Although I get why he did it, but the gunshot wound bleeds through the back. Like, he gets shot here, he goes through his back, and the bleeding is all on the back. And they only did that because if they didn't show some kind of blood, people would say, wait a minute, why didn't we see the blood the whole time? Oh, it was bleeding out his back, and he was always wearing his jacket, so we never saw it. Yeah, but I feel like that was, he only bled through the back, so it wouldn't be too obvious that he was bleeding through the front, although he could have had his jacket buttoned, buttoned the entire time, but who knows? We gotta have that shot of him standing there as he realizes what happens, and he bends, and he sees that it's bleeding, and he goes back to his wife, and he says that he loves her, and he says he's gonna go now, and that he finished what he was left to do. He had his unfinished business, which was to help Cole, because Cole was like Vincent. So he finished it, and you get this. He goes, just go back, just go to sleep, honey. I promise you tomorrow will be different. And then the screen goes white, and I was like, man, where did Shyamalan mess up? I mean, this was good, and Unbreakable is a good one. I think this, Unbreakable, and Signs. I know a lot of people question Signs. What Water really? But I do think Signs was a good movie. I want to say that's the last one that really, before the resurgence he had with Split, with The Visit and Split. Glass was okay. I will get to those eventually, by the way. Old was meh. I haven't seen a lot of his movies. I know he had a whole bunch that just went, The Lady in the Water, The Happening. What? No. The Last Airbender, After Earth. Those movies that just didn't work. Even in The Village, you could say it was one of those too, but The Village was big when it came out. My grandma worked at Cashwise in Minnesota here. She worked in the video department, and she got us shirts that had The Village on it and stuff. It was kind of cool. The movie bombed, but it was cool to have a shirt. I never fit into it because it was too short, but too small. But yeah. So yeah, The Sixth Sense, pretty good, I would say. I will say that it's more drama-like than it is a horror movie, but there are horror elements, specifically in the second half, once he's revealed his secret, and you actually get shown the dead people with the wounds and everything. That's where the horror factor comes in. But throughout most, the entire film, there's good acting. Haley Joel Osment is really good in this film, except for the Stuttering Stanley scene. That's the only thing that I really thought you could take out. It wasn't really necessary. It's never dressed against like a big look that I get every moment. Other than that, the movie's pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on The Sixth Sense? In the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.